Hey, happy Saturday. I'm going to get right into the books today because I actually have somewhere to go today. Weird, I haven't left the house in like 2 months. Anyway, should be interesting. All right, so today I want to talk to you about two debut novels. So, the author's first novel. They're both really good. One's a literary fiction and one's a rom com. Hi, Liz. So I haven't given you these books to read yet, Liz. You'll probably want them both. The first one I'm going to talk about is the lighter one. That's the rom-com, and it's called Real Men Knit by Kwana Jackson. Now, look at this cover. Isn't it beautiful? Look at those little yarn hearts. I mean, it's just epic. I love it. And his big old boot. So this book was sent to me by the publisher. They sent me like a stack of romance books from Berkeley to try. And the lady said it's a diverse rom-com set in the greatest city in the world. Yes, it exists, and it is true. Anyway, it's set in Harlem, so she must live in New York. But anyway, let me tell you about this great book. Hello, Ryan. Like I said, it's debut fiction. It comes out May 19th, so not too far away. This is about a shop in Harlem called Strong Knits, and it's a neighborhood knitting shop, but it's so much more than a knitting shop. They offer classes. They have children come in off the streets that kind of get snacks and knit, and the lady that owns it, Mama Joy, has the most huge heart, and she takes people into the shop. So the shop is like, it's like a staple in this hard neighborhood. Well, Mama Joy adopted 4 boys when they were children and raised them up right. She raised them up with everything she had. She used, it turns out, most of her money to get them through college and school and get them everything they needed. And they lived in the apartment above the knitting shop. So they had humble beginnings, but they've all made something of themselves. So they're the Strong brothers. I know, right? Hilarious. And they're all big, beefy boys. There's Jesse, who's the youngest, and he's the playboy of the bunch. He hasn't really settled down with one girl or one job. He's kind of just hanging in. And then there's Damien. He's the oldest, and he's like always, made himself be in charge of the others. He's kind of gruff, and he's a financial analyst, so he's very, very fancy. Then we have Lucas, who's a firefighter, and he's a soft heart. And Lucas's brother, these two are actually related. They have the same mom, different dads. But anyway, Lucas is a firefighter. He's very sweet. And then Noah is also very sweet. And Noah is an accomplished dancer, so he's on the road a lot. So the brothers stick together, and she raised them to be good to each other and good to everybody. And they help out occasionally in the shop. But Mama Joy's got it all under control. Well, sadly, in the very beginning, we hear that Mama Joy has passed away suddenly, leaving a hole in the community, leaving a hole in the Strong family, and also leaving a huge hole in the heart of one of her longtime part-time employees, and that's Carrie Fuller. Carrie is, she's had kind of a hard life, and Mama Joy's taken her in ever since she was a little girl, taught her to knit, let her stay in the shop with her a lot. She was raised kind of right alongside the brothers, which means they kind of treat her as a little sister, but she's not a little girl anymore. She's come into her own. Now she's a woman. Okay. So Carrie's kind of reeling from the loss of Mama Joy as well. And she doesn't want the shop to close because it's like her other home. Her other job is part-time at a school. She's like a teacher's assistant, and she's trying to get her degree so she can be a proper teacher because she's great with kids. And she also helps the kids in the shop, which helps out. So the boys all want to close the shop because, unfortunately, it's in huge financial debt because it seems Mama Joy used all her money to help her sons, which, she had a huge heart. Well, Jesse is surprisingly the only brother that wants to fight to keep the shop open. And the other brothers are like, that's odd. Since when has he showed any, what's the word? I've lost the word. Initiative. Yes. Since when has he shown any initiative to do anything, right? Well, he wants to keep it open because he wants Mama Joy's legacy to live on, and he doesn't want his home to be gone. I mean, he lives above the shop. So he's decided he's going to try to keep it open. Well, Carrie's like, oh my gosh, he's going to need my help. So she offers to help. Well, Carrie's always had this big crush on Jesse, and she's like, oh, he probably assumes that I'm just like his sister. So I'm going to have to get over myself and just move on, and I'll help him get the shop going, and then I'm gonna move on and try my teaching career and just kind of let them go, let the strong brothers go. Well, little does she know, but Jesse has the hots for her like bad. He's always had it, but he's just Jesse. He's never really decided to make any advances or anything. So that's the setup. And it's diverse fiction. Lots of the brothers are all different backgrounds and races, and they all are huge-hearted, cool dudes, and they all can knit, which is pretty awesome, especially Jesse. He's very good at knitting because Mama Joy taught him all how to knit. And there's this one part where he's making these little mittens that they put on a mitten tree in the store, and I'm like, oh, my heart. So you'll like it. If you like Christina Lauren or Jasmine Guillory romantic comedies, you'll love this one. And like I said, it's her first one, so I hope she writes some more. So here you go, Real Men Knit. There's that Adorbs cover again. It's got them on the back too. She's knitting them. So very, very cute. All right, so that's that one. Let's see who's on here. Oh, hello, fam. Oh, my family's on here. Okay, now this one, I think you guys will really like this one, especially those that don't like all my romantic comedies. This is a literary fiction. It has a little bit of everything. Not much romance, but a little family drama, a little mystery, good stuff. This is a perfect summer read. It's called The Second Home. It's by Christina Clancy. It comes out June 2nd. Fans of J. Courtney Sullivan, who wrote Maine, which is excellent, and also Ellen Hildebrand will really like this book. It's kind of a similar vein to those authors. So it's a debut novel as well, and it will leave you intrigued and invested in the well-loved Cape Cod community in the summer home where members of the Gordon family faithfully go every summer and spend their days. Now, the Gordons are a family that live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The parents are both teachers, so they enjoy spending their summer in Cape Cod, in Wellfleet. That's the name of the town there. But one summer that they spend in Wellfleet alters the future of the siblings and the parents forever. So it starts out in the present, talking about how they're going to sell the home. The sisters, they're trying to figure out how to sell their parents' summer home because unfortunately something happened to their parents. Then it kicks back and goes back to the very first summer that they were at the home, their summer home, with Michael, who was their adopted brother. So with Michael and then the two sisters, there are three siblings. And I'm going to move over to my notes because clearly I'm getting off track here. So don't mind me over here looking at my notes. So Ed and Connie are the teachers, and their daughters are Anne and Poppy. And the daughters are about as different as sisters can be, but they enjoyed their childhood together. But now as teens, the dynamic between them has shifted. Much of the reason for the shift is Michael Davis. Michael was a child in Anne's class, and she could see that he was having a hard time, and she kind of took him under her wing and kind of brought him home, brought him food, introduced him to her family, and they kind of took Michael in. So much, he fit in so well, and they loved him, so they adopted him at the age of 16. Well, Michael has a brutal past, and it's full of pain, and it's awful. His father was a boxer, but he was injured and ended up in a vegetative state in the hospital, never coming back home or even being able to say goodbye to his son. So he did at one time, had a good relationship with his father, but he lost him very young. And then after that, his mom kind of quit holding out hope that his dad would come home, and she got a boyfriend, Marcus. And Marcus took pleasure in beating and abusing Michael and treating him horribly. So Michael tried to get, or once Marcus was out of the picture, then it turned out that Michael's mother had AIDS. So alone and with no one else to help, Michael stayed with his mother as she died from AIDS and took care of her, and just it was terrible for him. So that's kind of where he was at when Anne saw him at school having such a hard time. So you can imagine how he felt when he was able to be taken in by this loving family that he thought was just like the perfect family. They're not perfect, but they were a far cry from what he was used to at his home. So he couldn't believe his luck when the Gordons took him in and started taking him to their summer home in Wellfleet on Cape Cod. Well, in the summer of 2000, excited to earn some money, Anne takes a babysitting job for this wealthy family, the Shaws. And she finds it hard to admit to herself, but she loves Michael more than she should as a brother. So she's unable to express that, obviously. But instead, she lavishes attention from the father of the Shaw family, the older man, who's a creeper, let me just say, but you'll find that out later. So when she babysits, he's always like creeping around, saying things to her, and it's nasty. But she enjoys the attention that the Shaw family give her, and they're wealthy, so she gets to drive the Jag around the island. She takes their two boys to all kinds of events. They basically never spend any time at home with their parents. Why would they do that? So Anne really likes the children, and she really likes the wife. But Anthony, she thinks she really likes him too. When she's with the Shaws, she feels important and respected because her family has kind of taken Michael in, and he's kind of the one that everybody's talking about and worried about. His father spending all this time with Michael. So Anne kind of feels left out in her family. So the Shaws are like her escape. Well, everything changes one night when Anthony drives her home from babysitting, and she's then ashamed, scared, betrayed, and she finds herself unable to cope with the pain of that fateful summer. So we kind of find that out in stages. And now we're back to the present when they're trying to sell the house. Well, the problem is Poppy left and Michael left, and Anne's kind of left to deal with this all by herself. Poppy was feeling left out by the attention that Michael received too. So she started spending her time with a new girl she met who was a surfer. And Poppy decided that surfing was going to be what she wanted to do. She also got into drugs and partying and drinking, and her family just kind of let her go off the rails because they were so concerned with Michael and making him happy. So now Poppy is estranged from Anne and Michael and her parents, and she comes home like once in a decade. So Anne's going to have a really hard time because she's got to sell this house. So she's got to get Poppy, and Michael's gone because of that summer. You'll find out Michael never came back and she never heard from him. So she doesn't know anything about where he is, but he is an heir because he's an adopted son. So she can't sell the house without Michael's involvement. So this is kind of a conundrum now. 15 years later, Michael is the missing piece of their family. And it's tragic because the parents are in an accident on their way home from Cape Cod one summer. So that's kind of what happens, why the kids have to sell the house. So like I said, this story has a little bit of everything. It has blackmail, secrets, loss, heartbreak, beautiful settings and beaches and coves, love and romance, healing, forgiveness, hope, and the unshakable bonds of family. Adopted family, regular family, they're all family. And I highly suggest it. I read it very, very quickly, couldn't put it down. Christina Clancy. I do hope she writes some more books. So there you go. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Hello, everyone. All right. I see Cooper was creeping behind me. I figured somebody would show up here. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. And I am putting these on YouTube. And I want to say shout out to my grandma because she's been watching them. So hi, Grandma. I'm glad you're enjoying my book talks. And I miss you very much. So there you go. Oh, Aunt Sally says hi to Cooper. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll be reading some more books this week to see what I can talk about next week. There are some great ones coming up from some of my favorite authors. There's a new book from Ellen Hildebrand coming in June. There's a new book from Emily Giffen coming in June. And a new book from Jennifer Weiner. Yes, that's her last name. Don't be funny. Poor girl. It's May 5th, and it's called Big Summer, and it's supposed to be excellent. So I'm going to read that probably next. All right. Well, I guess I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great one, and thanks for tuning in.